Good afternoon. This is Dr. Lauren Dew. I'm so glad you could join me. Today we're going to do another YouTube Blog Talk Radio uh, program together. And in this, we're going to spend time talking about the new book. I'm actually showing that to you that are watching on Blog Talk, YouTube rather, radio. And those of you that are watching see the book here in my hand. And so we're going to describe the book and talk a little bit about it. And those that are listening on Blog Talk Radio, we'll get it right here in a minute. You will get to hear the descriptions, but you can see the picture that's there. So welcome to Say a Word About This. I am just so thankful that you could tune into one of these programs. I know that there is a lot going on, just every which way, but we want to just kind of settle down for a moment, relax for a moment, take a deep breath, and say today we're going to deal with this very, very difficult subject matter, this thing that relates to child sexual abuse, child neglect, just all the various terms that relate to this. We're going to deal with it by talking about this book today. And so in doing so, you'll get an idea of what's in the book if you haven't already. Now, as you can tell, we're in my office, and I'll tell you this right now. Those of you that are following us on that have been following us on Blog Talk Radio, especially, that we are just believing soon to have our offices for the Center of Hope a place so that I won't have all these things happening. Heard the phone ring. Hey, we're live, and this is real. So these are real people. I'm a real person. Someone was sharing with me about robots. I'm not a robot. And from this book you can see it says Teddy Bear, Stolen Innocence. And then at the bottom it has my name, Lauren Dew, PhD. But underneath the little small print says a true story of incest and sexual abuse in a black family. And so in this book that I was able to pen, this now being our second book in a series of books that will be coming out. We have another one that we're working on for the month of February. You can either say it'll be a Black History Month book, or for those that are romantics, it'll be a Valentine's book. Whatever, but it'll be something that I know there are people, they won't say it right now, not just yet, that it's going to liberate them. So that's coming up. But Teddy Bear, Stolen Innocence, this book, I'm trying to hold it up real big so you can see it, that it's a real book finally. We have the cover all over. If you just go into Google and type in Lauren Dew, Loren Dew, it'll bring you up to our Facebook page. It'll bring you up to different things that we have. So, or type in Dr. Dew, Drdue. Try that. And then if you really want to be bold, then just type in the title of the website, Incest, INCEST, America.com. So it's incest in America.com. I know that's a lot of typing, but it'll get you there to the website, and eventually we'll merge these and to drdew.com, and it'll just be really easier to get to. But right now, just a little more typing. So in this book that is out here, let me just say that the book is for healing, it's for deliverance, it's for encouragement, it's for exposure, it'll be a revelation to many, and for quite a few, it'll be a way of confrontation, to confront those fears, to confront those challenges that so many have. It'll be a lot of different things. Now, people have read this before I go to describing this, because I'm not sure really how much time we have with YouTube. As you know, those of you that do these, they typically cut off when they get ready. So let's see how many minutes we can get. But those that have read the book, and let me just say that even Dr. Lloyd, we were talking about it. He's one of the endorsers on the back of the book. His comment was, Dr. Dew's writing is very transparent, and his work demonstrates the hope of transforming from a victim to a victor. And as we were talking, he said, there are going to be those who will embrace the book right away, and then there are going to be those who will open it and start reading it, and they're going to be so startled and so shocked that they'll have to put it down for a moment. Others may even be temporarily stunned, because it is so plain, it is so direct, it is so down to earth. It's not sugar-coated, it's not laced with big words. Someone said, well, there's all these words, and they're expecting it to be filled with big words. No, they're just plain English, down to earth, so that you can understand, comprehend, and receive. And then he said, of course, there are those who will read it and just embrace it, and transformation will start within them, particularly if they have been through anything. So far we've had all of the above, as people have called me, or I've talked to them from around the country that are reading the book or have read it, and so the reviews. Matter of fact, this book is now number 6 on a best-selling list of 150 books of all time for this year. Right now it's number 6. It wouldn't surprise me, I would just be so thankful, if it didn't move to the number 1 book on this best-selling list. But hey, it's what it is. And so the book is written in 3 components, and those 3 components are the first section of the book deals with my life and what I went through, what I experienced, and the most, I think, important part about all of that is how God brought me out of that and transformed me, so that I would not unconsciously get involved in further practices like what had happened to me with my family, my kids. God transformed me, changed me, took the hate, took all the stuff out, and gave me a new heart, a replacement. Now, with what's going on, they say you want to be current with what's going on with Penn State, and we're not here to judge anyone from the standpoint of right or wrong. We'll let the courts do that, but we are going to expose, reveal, and share, confront these issues. Well, there's some abuse going on, and major abuse at this university. So, and they claim that the man that was at the center of it was dealing with black young boys, 8 to 10. Well, this book, Teddy Bear Stolen Innocence, has other stories of some 9 black men and their stories, and then at the end of each story I do a section called Dewdrops, and make comments and issue just things to food for thought on those, so that you can get a feel for it. So that's the middle section. And incidentally, this book is only 150 pages. I mean, we're not talking a huge book in terms of quantity, but information is huge. We get a lot said in this short time with this. So, you know, if you when you buy it, you're going to think, oh my God, I'm paying this amount of money. $15.95 is what it costs, and you can go to our website or you can get it on Amazon.com. I would encourage you right now to go to our website, as we're tracking this very closely, and buy the book. Um, you're going to get 150 pages, but I'm telling you, by the time you've read the first 2 or 3 chapters, you will probably, like I said, either fall out or stand up and shout or see something happen. And then, of course, the third part of the book is what's called, I call it wisdom. And it's a chapter in this book, even by another doctor from Indiana. And he writes his part that is very special, because he manages a center for people that have AIDS, and he does an incredible job in working and helping black men, which will help black women and any other race that needs the help, and we all do. So Dr. Johnson has something, and then J.L. Whitehead wrote a letter, an open letter to brothers, because I tell you, there's a lot of hurting men, black men. Because now, understand, we wrote the book. When I say we, I wrote the book, put it together, and I made the dedication, especially, it says, to black men all over this planet, incest, raped, molested, and sexually abused. See, I didn't write it to the perpetrator, but I wrote it to the people that have been perpetrated upon, that had experienced, gone through, as I have, incest, rape, molestation, and the sexual abuse. And specifically, we narrowed that scope because, you know, even though there's 38 million blacks in America, thereabouts, 36, whatever, out of the 312 million people, that group, which I'm a part of, because in all of my research, when I researched 400 some books for my first book, don't say a word about this, that research for the first book indicated that black people in general, 5 books, 5 out of 400, which is not a lot, but it's enough, it got my attention. 5 of those books literally said that black people, Afro-Americans, dark race, were not worth discussing, doing research on, and sharing whatever maybe findings. And the gist of it was that we are considered to be animals. That's what was said, literally said. And so I wanted to make a very stringent point that yes, incest does occur in black America, but I want to make it very clear to everyone, particularly my YouTube followers, as you share with others, that incest happens not only in the black community, but let's go through it. It's black, it's Asian, it's Indian, it's Caucasian, and it's I think brown. All of the so-called races, we're really one race, because if you're humanoid or humankind, human being, and you have blood that is red, we're all one. Okay, we just have different shades of skin tone or melatonin and what have you. And so that's the only difference. Because if you need my blood and you're white, you can live if you get a transfusion, if I'm willing to share it. Or if you are Asian or whatever, and and the blood types match, of course. So this whole thing of bigotry and racism and all of the above that we suffer and go through so much in America. It's really unfortunate that some people think that they are superior, but that's not true. We were all created, and it started in the Garden of Eden. And so that I must share brings us as one. But we narrowed the scope of this book in order that this particular group of individuals can, number one, understand and know that someone is concerned about them. Number two, that in being concerned about them, we are exposing issues and situations that they face. But number three, it's a universal situation or universal challenge that happens to all. And for whatever reason, we were in a conference today, and they were doing what's called a search, and they put in the word just incest, and came up almost, I think it was 9 million searches per day or something, or not, or I don't know if it's a day or time, but just an enormous number of attention goes to this subject, and yet it's considered taboo. And let me just share with you another reason why this book is so important, this teddy bear, Stolen Innocence. As I get my little teddy bear here to show you, those of you that are still with me in YouTube, there he is. And see, it's about love. And that is that in this whole situation of dealing with this, we are delving into it because the church, I believe, for the most part, from what I have gathered, they took the Apostle Paul's word in Ephesians, the 5th chapter, and they have perverted that so that worldwide people they sense a taboo about this. They don't want to talk about it. That scripture simply says, Paul says, and I'm paraphrasing, don't let this be mentioned among you, sexual immorality. And they took it to mean don't talk about it, don't teach about it, don't minister on it, don't deal with it. And that is exactly the opposite of what Paul intended. His intended purpose for that work was that we would deal with it as brothers and sisters, as ministers of the gospel. And the reason it's very obvious to me that it needed to be addressed and dealt with, if you go through Romans, and then you go through the Corinthians and Ephesians and Philippians and all those different letters, you'll find bits and pieces and it's enough bits and pieces to make a book. Matter of fact, when we finish this YouTube, and it's still going, so I'm going to keep talking for those of you that are going to download this, we have we did the series called Sex in the Bible, and that will be a book where we're going to deal specifically with all of these issues that the church has not wanted to deal with, and it's made people uncomfortable, and people, they want to and books like this, Teddy Bear, they don't want these kind of things to be seen, and they don't even want the book in their bookstores, some of them. They're such hypocrites. And the fact that the homophobic preachers, the ones that are actually dipping and messing, with young boys and young girls. And I'm talking about the women that are lesbians and the men that are homosexuals and all of this. Hey, it's over. God gave me an assignment, and in love, I wrote this book and the books to come. And they're coming out to expose the truth and to stop the lies. Matter of fact, there's someone that wants to look at our first book. We'll talk about that. And when that comes out, how they know that people are going to just say, "Hey, don't get that book," because it's truth in there. Now, let me tell you why it's truth. It's not because I'm saying it. Please, please hear me out. It's not because Lauren Dew is saying it. It's because you can read. And if you can't read, you'll get somebody to read for you. And when I show you the scriptures and you read them, you're going to say, they said that. And then you're going to realize you've been following a lie. So we're going to do that. Well, Teddy Bear is available, Stolen Innocence. And the reason that name, as we wrap this up, I believe it's kind of getting down to where it's going to wrap up this YouTube, is because as a child, give you another little insight about this, I had a bear, a teddy bear, that my mother brought me. And folks say, well, where was your mother when all this mess was going on with your dad, and your dad was having sex with you, and your brother was having sex with you, and all that? Where was your mother? Well, my mother, and I share that in the book, she worked three jobs. And that's how we weren't homeless back then. That's how we had a shelter. My father would work, periodically, and he worked as a janitor. I'm not going to give all that away, but he was a janitor. But my mother would bring home, because she was a day worker. She worked for white folks there in Southern California, and and they weren't even rich. They all weren't rich. I finally learned that a lot of them were just what's middle class, which is going away. They had a little extra money, so they hired a maid, and my mother was their maid. And one of the two things that she did that I loved, several things she did I love, but two things as a maid she did, because she'd cook for them too, because my mother could cook. She'd bring home food. She'd always buy, extra food, so we would have bring home the food, some extra food, when she could. And the other thing she would do is bring home clothes, and I always had nice clothes because their kids were a little older than I was, and when they'd wear their clothes a few times, and I get them. But then she brought home this teddy bear. So I started out with a hand-me-down teddy bear. It wasn't a new teddy bear. We got new teddy bears for folks. I'm believing that someday we'll just be able to give teddy bears away with Stolen Innocence. On my the monogram on my shirts is TS teddy bear, rather TBSI, Teddy Bear Stolen Innocent, and it's a cute little teddy bear. Well, bottom line, I had this teddy bear, and that is who I confided in as a child when I was going through all of the challenges. And my teddy bear, because the name, I don't think I give the name in the book. I can't. I think maybe we did, but the point is, I talked to that teddy bear, and many of you talked to something, and so that's why we got the teddy bear. It wasn't by accident, but that was my sounding board. That was who I talked to, and you'll get the joy. Stolen Innocence, you know what that means. I didn't get to enjoy being a child. I didn't get the privilege of even being a celibate person until later in life, because my innocence was stolen. So get a chance, get yourself out, and get a copy of Teddy Bear Stolen Innocence. Either go to Amazon.com, because that's where a lot of people will go. That's very easy. Or I invite you to go to my website, and that's Incest in Black America. Let me spell it. INCESTIN America.com. This is Dr. Lauren Dew signing off and thanking you for purchasing a book. If you have any questions at all, send me your questions. My email is very simple. It's simply help, H-E-L-P, at drdue.com. Dr. Dew. Alrighty, God bless, and remember this thought that God gave me: pain is not for life.